Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Jersey Comic Crew, your favorite podcast for all things pop culture, comic book related, TVs, and obviously movies, which we're talking about today.
That's right.
And as always, we're your hosts. I'm Chris Heller.
And I'm Rob Moran.
And we're definitely talking about spoilers today. We're doing the SHAZAM movie review. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely see it first. And then, again, always watch for the description below. We'll tell you all the info.
Well, the info is we're watching Shazam.
Well, the info is we're watching and talking about Shazam.
Wait, hold on. Shazam!
Shazam! Didn't work.
Did he do it in post? Am I Zachary Levi right now?
Mike, make us Zach Levi with
the padded suit.
But keep the facial hair. our crappy facial hair.
Mine's not bad.
Yeah, mine's terrible.
It is.
I can't.
I shaved mine down. Nobody wants to hear about that. They want to hear what we think about Shazam.
That's true. So, what's your take, Rob?
Briefly?
You saw it first,
yes.
so go ahead.
I loved it. It was amazing. I think it's my favorite DC movie.
I would agree with that.
It's not. With the book's falling.
Oh, my box.
Oh,
sorry. We're having some problems on set here.
Yes.
Oh God.
It is my favorite DC movie. It's a lot of fun. Great movie. Character development. It's what we needed from DC.
Mm-hmm.
And Aquaman was like, if anything in the world of sports, Aquaman was the layup. Shazam was the spike down. I loved it.
Slam dunk.
No, spike setup. I was doing volleyball.
I thought because you said layup because layup is basketball.
They do both.
Okay, volleyball. Volleyball terms. Sorry.
And if I'm wrong about that, then I'm just wrong. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Shazam is definitely the best DC movie of this DCEU era.
And they make it like it's related, but it's also not at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, so all right, I'll go over what I liked first.
Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
Brief synopsis of the movie. Boy named Billy Batson encounters the wizard Shazam. He's a foster kid running away trying to find his mother. Mm-hmm. Meets the wizard Shazam. Shazam is running out of time. Deems him to be the heir, the true champion to protect the world of magic.
Yes.
And then there's the villain, Dr.
Savannah.
Thank you. I always have trouble with that.
Okay.
Dr. Savannah, who was first, almost like applied for the job, and he got turned down and said he was never going to be good enough when he was a kid. Mm-hmm. Saw all this power, eventually came back, took the mystical object, encountered the 7 deadly Simmons, and is on a collision course with Shazam because he wants the same power that he has.
What makes you so worthy?
Exactly. What makes you so worthy?
Mm-hmm.
They fight it out, and then movie. That's pretty much the bit. You know this. You watched it. That's why you're here.
Yeah,
All right, so tell me what you liked.
The
movie.
Loved. Well, yeah, I did like the movie. I didn't love it as much as you did, but that's always the case. So,
because somebody's here is a heartless monster.
No, it's not, and I'll explain why, and I think you'll understand why.
I know. I already know what you're gonna say.
Oh, we'll see. So I did like Zach Levi. I think this is the hero he's born to play.
Yeah.
I think if there's any superhero and they were like, "Hey, Zach Levi's going to be a superhero," this is what he should be doing. I thought he was charming. I thought he was funny. I thought he was able to meld the very awkwardness that is the character of Shazam because he is a 10 to 13-year-old boy. In the comics, he's a little younger, too.
In the comics, so that's a little where we get a little different. In the comics, he's about 8 years old, and he's altruistic. He believes everything is good, all right. Everything, not all right, sorry. Everything is good.
Not that old right.
Everything is all right. What's bad is bad. What's good is good. There's no gray area. The Billy Batson we get today in the show,
it's way more forming.
15 years
society.
old. He's 15 years old. He's he's a little street edge kid. He has his walls up. Mm-hmm. But like you're saying, Zachary Levi does a phenomenal job of having that youthful joy of all this wonderful power and still portray all these powers.
Yeah, I did like him. I loved Asher Angel, who played Billy. I thought he was a really good Billy. I thought he was a believable, normal kid who had, a lot of family issues trying to find his mom. I thought they looked similar enough that it was believable that he turned into Zach Levi. I like that they gave him the red sweatshirt, like in the comic books. Like he kind of had that.
It was
the
good.
Color scheme motif.
Oh. Wonder where we got that from.
Oh yeah, so sorry. Oh, is that a Shazam shirt?
Is this a Spider-Man shirt? Because Rob doesn't own a red Shazam shirt. That's right.
I mean, you guys can basically, if you haven't been able to tell right now, anything we're talking about, I kind of have a shirt for every situation. Which I don't know how that happened. So,
he buys it on Amazon before we record it. Make me look bad. That's what happens.
But I really do. I have a shirt for every situation. So if you want to know what we're talking about, usually just look at the shirt. But anyway, yeah, I did like that. I loved Mark Strong's take on Savannah. I like that it was not the same in the comics where he's just like kind of like the scientist brooding over a lab trying to figure out magic. I like that he had a purpose. I like that they had a backstory. Like, I knew 100% in the beginning that was going to be him.
So Mark Strong's character, I agree, is another highlight of this movie. You know, his acting chops alone is what carried that film. I think if we would have had a weaker actor, because they didn't give a lot for him to do in this movie, right?
True.
You know, it's very simple. Like I said, he got rejected. He became the bad guy, got his family's fortunes, went after and chased them. But because it's Mark Strong and because of his acting capabilities, it brought it to another level.
It also made me wish even more that he was Lex Luthor. Because he should be Lex
He
Luthor
would have been a
the
great
movies.
Lex Luthor, but I know that they're going to build this character, Dr. Sylvanas, more on in the Shazam universe, and we're going to see him more.
I hope so.
And more.
I hope so. Even if he's not the main villain, if he's behind.
He's going to be a recurring character. He's definitely going to be in the next one, which we'll talk about when we get to the after credit scene. And I could definitely see him in the futures.
Yeah. I love the kids. Darla was awesome. They all played it really well. Like, Mary was very like going to college and very into like, you know, all her studies and focused on, my God, I got to get in here and the next chapter of her life, which is just like the comics. It was very much, to me, the movie was very much almost like the Jeff Johns interpretation.
Yeah, like the New 52 and even what's going on now with Rebirth.
Exactly. I think it was very much like, hey, we're taking a lot of bits and pieces off of this area of Jeff's work and modernizing it and using that kind of modern take on Billy and Shazam and making that what it is.
For me, when we're talking about the kids, and I'm sure it's for many of you at home, Freddie stole the show.
Freddie did
Not
the show,
even with the kids. I'm talking about in the movie.
Yeah,
he was great. Him recording, you know, Zachary Levi, Shazam, Billy, doing these superhero stunts and putting them on YouTube. Of course. Like, what kid wouldn't do that? And me, I'd be like, oh, I'd be worried they trace my IP address. And he's like, nah, man, we're going to get millions of followers. And that's how everybody knows who we are.
Yeah.
They're putting through these superhero tests, these secret fire tests, like all these things that make you laugh and giggle. And just to see when we see Freddie yell at grown adult Zachary Levi, Billy, was great. And you see him on the news. He's like, what are you doing? You almost killed these people. I'm
and
like,
it's also how Savannah figured out where he was connected to.
He's like, wait.
Yeah. Hey, that kid's right there.
Oh, you.
Hey, you.
Give me a little boy.
Come here, you. I thought that was great. Again, Freddie did steal the show. I liked how quiet and awkward Pedro was.
It was good.
And they all kind of played it to what they are in the comics. Like, all the characters, like, you know, Eugene's very tech savvy and nerdy. I like that they even cast the correct, like, races in the Foster family, how they modernized it now.
Speaking about the kids, do you think that I have a couple questions, but do you think I think they rushed it a little bit with like their backstories?
Okay.
Like we didn't like with Pedro, like he got that F. We never saw that, you know, talked about again. With
Darla?
Not Darla.
Mary?
No.
Eugene, Freddie?
Thank you, Eugene. Sorry, blanked. With Eugene, we see him play a little video games, and that was enough, but kind of want a little bit more with him. Like we saw him hacking, like okay.
Yeah.
Mary, we get all those scenes with everybody except for Pedro.
Yeah.
We don't get anything with Pedro. And I was like, I want a little bit more with him.
Yeah, I think it was just a tough thing with one time. Two, like, in all honesty, it's not about them.
No.
You know what I mean? It's about Billy and really Freddie.
Well, again, it's not, but it kind of is. Because when we get to the end, spoilers, obviously.
Yeah.
And they become the Shazam family, or Shazamily, or whatever we're calling them.
Shazamily, I like that. Shazamily.
You know, they put
with pesto sauce.
They put all their hands on it, and they're like, say my name. And they all scream Billy, which was great.
That was great. Billy!
But they all have powers now, which, you know, maybe you could argue makes Shazam a little less special. I don't think that. I don't like that argument.
Well, no, because all the other siblings have, like, one or two of his powers.
Yeah.
Like Shazam still has all of the powers of the, you know, speed, strength, flight, all that stuff, lightning. It's kind of like Pedro's super strong. Darla's really fast. Mary can, like, kind of mix with the flight and strength, and then you have, like, you know, Freddie's really, like, can fly, and that's kind of what he always talks. And that was cool because he talked about, like, would you rather fly or teleport?
Exactly. But I think they still have, like stronger strength and stuff like that, but not to the same degree like Shazam has.
Yeah, true.
So, but, like, when you look at it, they all have the powers now.
Yeah.
So
which they should have. I was happy they did.
I was happy with that. I see some people saying, oh, they should have waited till the last movie, but how else were they going to deal with the 7 deadly sins without bringing in the Justice League? So I liked, you know, we saw the arc with a lot of those characters, you know, them actually fighting it. Darla becoming super fast was just a joy.
Which was just zipping around as Megan Good, which I was so happy about.
But speaking of the 7 deadly sins, that's where I felt like it was a little weak.
Same.
Because obviously, for those of you who read the comics, you know they're more distinct than each other. They kind of look like similar versions of each other. Or if you watch like any anime out there, like the 7 Deadly Sins are ultra personifications of those sins, and they look like that. They're more fun. They're more dynamic. And with these, we kind of got
like
generic,
like eating everything in sight and stuff like that.
We got generic monsters in us.
Yeah, we did, and it was very kind of like smoke and mirrors CGI.
Yeah,
they're kind of all the same, destroying shit, and they didn't really have a purpose besides they were controlling Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I agree with you 100%. I thought that was kind of cheesy, and I wanted more. I wanted distinction. I wanted like everything kind of differentiated in the form of like, hey, this lust is inside of Savannah. He's lusting for power. How do we see that over envy and greed? And how do we see, like, I wanted kind of each one to kind of have its moment of, like, he's, like, this is being utilized more.
So the one thing that this movie did that Marvel doesn't do is that their villains are not dead. So the 7 Deadly Sins are trapped again.
Yeah.
So in theory, guys, and I'm sure you've already jumped to this conclusion, they could bring them back and make them more of the stylized versions of those characters that we've seen in anime and in the comics.
They could.
I don't think they're going to.
I don't think they're going to either, because I think you have... And obviously
they
teased a bunch of characters too, but I think they have other characters that they need to get to. Obviously, Black Adam's the big one, which
they mentioned right in the beginning. They chose a champion. They chose wrong.
Exactly, and they showed the kind of like that old scroll type thing.
By the way, you know The Rock is an executive producer on this movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Because he's also...
I didn't know that. I when I was watching it and I looked it up again, I was like, holy bananas.
Yeah, and he's kind of like really in a lot of control with his Black Adam movie. So once that comes out, I'm sure there's going to be some type of, before they put him in Shazam, he wants to make it his own character because it's The Rock. But yeah, like I would definitely say that the 7 Deadly Sins were the weak spot for me. Also, the other weak spot for me in this movie was, yes, it was a solid movie. Yes, it was good, and out of the DCEU, it was probably the best movie. The only one you could really argue is Aquaman, but I think this was better. It was lighthearted. It had a lot
of fun time.
It was serious when it needed to be. I absolutely love the heartbreaking scene where Billy finally finds his mother and realizes, like, I've been looking for this whole time and she never wanted me.
You see, I like that scene because we get to see that, like, oh, she never wanted to look for me, and we see that development. But it felt rushed to me. It felt like, all right, check mark. We talked about his mother. Let's move on to the next thing.
See, I was okay with it because the pace of the movie had to go faster anyway, right? Like like Shazam's a tough character to begin with because you have to do an origin story for two different characters who are the same person. There's only so much time, and I think the runtime was like 205, 203, somewhere in there, 215 maybe. And it's not easy, and you're doing the origin for him, and then you get to his new foster home, and you meet the family, and you meet everyone's little quirks, and the mother and father were also foster people.
Real quick, the mother and father were great.
Rosa and Victor, yeah, they're
I
awesome.
love them.
The guy was from Walking Dead.
Exactly, I was going to say he's from Walking Dead. All hands on deck.
Yep.
Loved it. It was cute.
Yep.
I tried to do it with my friends. They didn't want to do it with me. I was like, all hands on deck, and they're like, go home, Rob.
They're like, get out.
We only brought you so you can explain the after credit scene. So you can leave now.
Knowledge. Doesn't that suck being the bearer of knowledge for people?
Oh, I love it. I'm like, I know it all. They look at me. So, Rob, who is that little caterpillar? I'm like, let me tell you.
I was so excited about that.
Which we'll get to.
So yeah, I would say the biggest part for me that I didn't like is, again, something DC hasn't been able to do for me yet. Marvel does it almost every movie for me.
What?
That overwhelming feeling of hope and heroism, and like that amazing feeling of like you've been beaten down so hard and you're getting back up.
I did feel a lot of hope.
I didn't feel any of that with Shazam.
You didn't feel hope?
No, I felt hope, but not in the way I wanted. I didn't have that superhero feeling of like so. Basically, in a basic term, the lowest point of Shazam is him getting beat up by Dr. Savannah.
Yes.
Right?
You could argue his mother, but yes, that.
His mother, but like, so, you said you thought the mother thing was rushed.
Yeah.
I'm on the opposite. I thought the reaction to it was rushed. Okay. So, we went through the beginning where
because he had to run back to save everybody.
He did. So we went through the beginning where it's like he's looking for his mom. We go through like the police report, and he has like the journal. Then he throws the journal out the new place because he's gone through every name. Eugene just kind of finds it after like him and Mary kind of realize what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
He jumps out, goes to find her. He has the talk with her where she realizes she I was 18, and she left him with the cops like a monster. Then immediately after
that's
that,
not the worst thing she could have done. But
true, but still a monster. Then we go from that to him kind of doing that slow walk down the hallway, immediately to Freddy calling and Savannah's at the house.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have time to kind of
process
or reflect or have that build into part of the story because he has to go do something else.
So you would have rather like a minute or two more of him like leaving the department, like walking in like the streets of Philly. Sad.
Not even that. Like I don't need the montage because they did a lot of Philly montage in it.
Yeah.
With like the Rocky steps. And
that was great. I see why Rocky trained to get up here. This is a beautiful view.
It's a beautiful view. So like he did a lot of that. It is a beautiful view. They did a lot of that already. But what I wanted to see was more of like, how is this going to affect him as Shazam? Like the low point was like Freddy yelling at him for messing up with the bus.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That was pretty cool.
Which was cool, but at the same time, it wasn't really like the lowest
lightning with my
point.
Hands.
Lightning with my hands. That was.
But the lightning's there, Mike.
Yeah, but there was no.
I don't think he's gonna do it.
He might. You never know.
You guys would know.
Yeah. Spirit of lightning fingers. So there was no like major fall for the hero that he needs to build himself back up. So when he builds himself back up and finally wins, you're like, yes, like finally about time. There was no like we hit you in the face so hard and now you have to build yourself back up. Like I didn't feel that. You know that feeling you get when you watch an Avengers movie or Cap Civil War or Iron Man 1. Like those feelings aren't there.
For this movie, it was less than that. I agree with you on that, but it's more of like, yes, he has a family.
Yeah.
It was more like
the personal stuff.
It's more personal. It's not even him being a hero. It's him becoming a person, like
a responsible person of society.
It's him becoming like a completed person because he's fractured, he's damaged, and now he's like, I have a family, I'm whole. And the next movie, I'm very confident we're gonna see him hit that low point and then him come back up as the superhero. You know what I mean?
I hope so because. Again, I thought it was a really fun movie. I thought it was funny as all hell.
What's your favorite joke? Sorry to cut you off.
There was one specifically that I can't remember. You go first while I think about it.
I think mine was the lightning fingers. Captain Sparkle Fingers.
Captain Sparkle Fingers?
When they first said that, I was dying laughing.
I think it might have been when he saves the girl from the mugger and he super speeds and knocks the guy like 1,000 feet and he's like
that.
Oh! Check. Like what it was like super feed check. That was good. Hitting on the girl coming out of 7-Eleven after they drink beer and they're like, this is disgusting, and they get like,
hey, I'm a superhero.
Yeah, and they get like monster and like jerky and shit like that. So that was cool.
I did like that.
There was one specific joke I laughed really hard at and I can't remember it right now.
It's okay.
But yeah, if I remember it,
all right. So we got to talk about the scene at the end, not the after credit scene.
Well, what are your favorite scenes in the movie before we get to that?
Ooh.
Because we're not going to go through scene by scene, but
no.
What are your favorite, like, what scene stood out to you? Like, what was like, oh, this feels like Shazam. I'll move this box back a little bit.
Yep. Thank you, sir. What feels like Shazam?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I really liked the all hands on deck at the end.
Yeah.
Where they all put the thing down, they screamed, Billy.
That was cool.
I thought it was fun, but like
funny.
Him saying the all hands on deck, that was like, oh,
Santa.
We're
Santa running away from all the danger was hilarious.
No, Santa at the end.
Where Darla catches him?
No, not even at the news. This was effing insane, man.
Yes.
I've been believing there were demons and this and that. That was great.
The shit's get the fan. It's crazy. That was great. That was great.
That was a great scene. But him putting all hands on deck on the staff, like solidified, I have a family. You are my family. Yep. So I really found that scene powerful. Him doing the lightning with my hands, I thought it was a fun scene. Him doing the montage of the super speed and like all the other tests,
the test powers on YouTube.
I thought that was very good, very well done, and of course, the lunch scene
at the end.
Of course, screamed, not like regular, like I was like, oh, I can't believe. Me and my friends are screaming. The people looking next to us, they're like, yeah, all right, like, all right,
all right, freaks.
they're cheering, but like they got hyped because we got hyped.
Yeah.
So the scene I'm talking about was earlier in the movie, as you already know because you watched the movie, Freddy did this thing that all these kids would do. I would do that. But like, oh, I'm best friends with Captain Red Tornado, whatever they were calling him.
Captain Sparkle Fingers. The lightning lad.
Yeah, the lightning.
Sorry to cut you off. Also, when Billy pretended to be Freddy's dad to pick him up from. That was the funniest one because it was Officer Security Guard Moran, and Erica goes, Rob.
That was.
Thank you, Security Guard moron. It's Moran.
I thought I was gonna get away with this whole recording without it.
God, I remembered. It's
all my friends pointed that out. Me and my brother were there, and Mike's because my brother is a security guard right now. And they all go like, "Oh, thank you, Officer Moron." I love that scene. And then I saw it was Moran, and I was like, everybody's gonna tell me. I wanted to see if I could go this whole thing, except right at the end,
and then be like, "I got you. You didn't say it."
Yeah, I was gonna.
I would have been like, ah. Yep, that was the best because even Erica was like, Rob,
Moron. Oh, it's so funny.
It was very funny.
I've heard that. Oh my life.
Oh, I bet.
But seeing Shazam do it made me feel honored. I was like, oh yes.
I just love how he was in a trench coat picking him up. It was like,
he's like, this is my son. You know, my son from birth. I at the business place.
At the business function or something like that. And he's like, oh, sorry, I was late. I'm coming from the business function. And the guy's like, what?
He's like, oh,
that was great. But anyway, continue.
Sorry. So the lunch scene, that was a good scene. Even though, I didn't like it that much. It was not. It was mean. It was great, but personally, I felt offense. Anyway, so the lunch scene, Freddy, talked us all up. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have red sparkle fingers here," and then he's probably even gonna bring his pal Superman here, and nobody brought him up. They all laughed at him, and at the end, you see all his family there, and I'm like, "Oh, is he coming?"
Also, how big is that school?
That school goes from kindergarten
to friggin'
high school.
Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
It might be like a joint. Because the school I went to, it was two big buildings, but they was connected.
But there was a high school and grammar school?
Yeah, but we never ate together. It was the grammar school was here, but they were like right next to each other. So maybe they're connected.
Really? Oh, that's weird. I was like, are there even schools anymore that go K through?
Probably not, but for the movie, it's fine. We could let it go. We're watching a guy fly around.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's real.
So, yeah, it is.
Totally.
Anyway. So at the end, we see him come out, and then his face, instead of being happy and joyous, he was like almost embarrassed, which was great because he's like one of them now. And he's like, "Oh, my best friend Freddy." Yeah. He's like, "I brought a friend," and I'm like, "What, a dog?" Like I didn't even think. I was like, "What did he bring?" And then I saw it was Superman from the neck below because it couldn't be Cavill because he may or may not be there. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Superman. I lost my shit. I was like, "Yeah, he brought Superman. He's the coolest." Oh my god.
It was a bittersweet moment for me.
Because you didn't see Cavill?
I wanted to be Cavill so badly.
They said because of scheduling conflicts.
It wasn't. It's because of whatever the contract thing is with them.
We don't know what's happening, to be honest.
We don't know what's happening, and I don't think 100% they do either. But it was, we know, so the person in the Superman suit was Zach Levi's stunt double for Shazam. So they just put him in the Superman suit and had him just kind of walking with the tray.
That's awesome.
And the music that was awesome. The dun 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 dun, and everyone's like, oh. At the same time, I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Can you imagine? He's set for life, Freddy. He's gonna get all the ladies from now until he's like 90. Yep. He's like, oh yeah, I met Superman once. Oh, he went to my school in grammar school.
Yeah, we're best friends. We're cool.
Yeah,
Krypton for life.
I see him on vacation.
We have matching tattoos.
Well, now he's a superhero in his own right, so he will meet him.
True. I thought the superheroes, so when they all turned older, I thought they were awesome. I thought Mary was the
Hadouken was good.
That was great with the Hadouken. I thought Adam Brody as older Freddy was a perfect casting.
It was.
I thought Mary's older version was the only one that was a little weak.
I thought it was the same person at first second.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell, which is fine. I thought she was a little shorter than I thought she was going to be. But I like that they did all the classic costumes with the different colors. That was so cool. The ending scene was awesome with Superman. Even though I wish it was Cavill personally.
I have one more scene I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I know you guys want to talk about it. When they're flying in the air.
Yeah.
And then they stop and they're both like a mile from each other. And then Dr. Sylvanus goes into his evil villain monologue.
That's great.
And then he's just talking. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to rip your heart out and run it over." And then you see Shazam's like, "What are you saying? We're like a mile apart. This is Philly. I hear noise and everything underneath you.
Cars and wind. And
can you hear me?"
Yeah.
And then he pans back. You see nothing. He's like, "I'm just gonna do this. All right." And he flies into him.
All right, we're gonna go. That was awesome.
That was a good scene.
Yeah, I thought it was charming. I thought
charming is an appropriate word.
I thought it was a very charming movie. I thought it was a very heartfelt movie with things that are very realistic today, especially today. the foster system is a huge thing in America, and how effed up it is, and how kids go hungry and homeless. It's crazy. Billy was kind of the only character in comics that dealt with that.
Yeah.
You're talking about a kid who is basically on the street and homeless. We talked about a couple months ago the scene I would have loved to have with Superman, which I think they might have incorporated if Cavill was like if WB and Cavill worked something out.
I mean, they still can.
They still can. It's not done. Yeah.
Reiterate what the scene was for people who are new and haven't watched it.
Yeah. So basically, the scene is Billy is kind of squatting in this abandoned.
This is a scene from a comic.
In a comic.
To reiterate.
And Clark Kent is doing an expose on foster care and child homelessness for the Daily Planet, and he figures out that Billy Batson is Shazam. And Billy is in this abandoned house, basically using like the heat of like an old garbage can, throwing crap in there like a homeless guy, like to stay warm at night. And Clark finds him and has this long talk with him about like, hey, I really want to write your story. I want to help you find a home. Billy's kind of given up on the world. He's a little bit older, so like in the comics, he'd probably be the age he was in the movie.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like basically cursing Clark out. He's like, you don't care about me. You just want to like help yourself and help your career. And like, I've been in and out of homes. No one cares about me. No one wants me. Like, he's like, you don't even understand the power I have. Like, I could do whatever I want, and yet I can't be happy. Like, just really a real emotional bomb that he finally lets off. And Clark kind of stands there and he's just listening to Billy kind of unload and kind of letting him vent. And then once Billy's done, he's like crying and he's like, just leave. He's like, there's no way you'll ever understand me. And Clark just opens his shirt and the Superman symbol. And it's just a shot of like Billy's face lighting up of like, oh my God, you do like, not only are you Superman, but you do like everything I said, you understand. And like, now I believe you that you're trying to help me.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful moments in comic book history, in my opinion. And that's a scene I would have loved, especially like if that scene happened post Billy talking to his mother.
Oh.
Where Billy doesn't go back home because of the news his mother tells him. And like, maybe Freddy texts him or calls him and is like, help me. And he's like, screw you. Like, I don't need this. Like, you're not even my family. Let him deal with you. Like, I'm like basically being a coward not facing Savannah after he got his ass kicked.
I can see that.
And Billy goes to hide, and then Superman figured
that's a big scene.
That's a big scene, and Clark would figure it out and do it, and that's what gets Billy to come back to help the family. That's where I would have been like, this superhero movie's over the top. That's that feeling I would have needed to bring that character back up.
I think for that to happen, DC needs to establish the universe a little bit more and make it more on cinder blocks, have a stronger function. Yes. Foundation. Sorry, wrong word.
No, you're good. It has to be on cinder. It's on cinder blocks right now.
Now
they need to put some wheels on there.
Now it's got 3. It's got
2.5.
Shazam, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and again, I personally think all these movies could have definitely been better.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of room for improvement. I think they're on the right track.
They're getting better with each one.
They are, but they also need to be worried and not get fixated on, all right, we did really great with these movies, we're making money. I mean, Shazam just had a huge drop off when it came to like movie tickets and sales this week. Rewatchability is a big thing with superhero movies.
It's also a weird time that it's out.
100%. You got Hellboy this week.
You got Shazam.
Avengers.
There was Pet Sematary. I mean, it's not exactly feeding off each other. I want
to see it so badly.
But that's a big movie that people want to see.
Yep.
Hellboy, and then at the end of this month you have Endgame. Sorry,
Avengers Endgame.
And a lot of people are waiting for that. They're like, not every people are gonna like, all right, I'm gonna go watch this movie this week. Then next week I'm watch this. They're like, all right, maybe I'll watch one movie a month.
Yeah.
So people aren't like us, guys.
Yeah,
they don't watch all the movies.
And agreed, like it's a lot of money because like you're spending crazy money for Avengers tickets because you want to go see it in IMAX or IMAX 3D or 4DX. So like I might not see Hellboy the second it comes out. You know what I mean?
Oh, I have to.
I want to see Hellboy.
Yeah.
But I might not see it the first week.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it might be after Avengers comes out. You know what I mean? So again, if you're picking and choosing, I chose Shazam. If you could see all of them, go see all of them. Hell yeah. Support the medium. But again, a lot of people are, budgetary needs. Like, all right, I'm going to obviously sing Avengers. That's kind of it. This month, that's kind of it. If Shazam came out earlier or if it came out later, that's a different story. But I would definitely say they're on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
I will say they need to make sure they don't get into a groove of saying like, all right, we're making good enough movies. You know what I mean? They need to strive to make amazing movies, brilliant movies I want to watch 2 and 3 times in the movie theater. I want to pay to watch this over and over again. Dark Knight.
They don't want to get complacent. I understand.
Yeah, don't get complacent. Because there was a lot of stuff in Aquaman that also related to Shazam. Kind of like the easiness of the turnaround for the hero. The story was a little easy. The plot was not thick as far as like twists and turns. You know, you look at Winter Soldier. That's a spy movie. That's an action movie. That's a thriller. That's a superhero movie all in one. And I'm not saying they have to be like Marvel.
No,
because DC has the right to make their own imprint, but not so complacent. Maybe let's strive for something higher next time.
So what we saved for last is the after credit scene.
Yeah.
If you guys are watching the movie, pay very close attention. You saw a caterpillar in the jar, and I know that's a very deep cut. Some of people didn't know what that was. Me and Chris, we freaked out, especially because, like we were saying before, in the Shazam comic book as it is now, we saw that caterpillar. That is Mr. Mind.
Mr. Mind.
So at the end scene, you already know what we're going to talk about. We see Dr. Sylvanus, Mark Strong, riding on the wall, trying to open the gate back into the world.
Lex Luthor-like.
Yeah.
Like all the symbols and wall stuff.
He's going crazy.
Yeah.
And then we see Mastermind. Not Mastermind. Yeah, Mastermind.
Mr. Mind.
Mr. Mind. Thank you. Is pretty much in like event talking to him. It's like it's time for you to see all the 7. Well, he said all the realms.
Yeah. There's 7.
He didn't say there's 7. Yeah. He said time to see the other realms. And Mr. Mind in the comics has the ability to telepathically control people, right? So we're going to see essentially Dr. Sylvanus being controlled by another entity. Mm-hmm. The worm is probably going to crawl inside his brain and live in there and make him do things and give him these magical powers. Mm-hmm. And in the comics, you know, he creates a league of evil, essentially. I forget what it is.
It's like
a society of evil, I think it is.
Kind of, yeah. And they go against, like, sometimes Black Adam teams up with them very rarely.
In older pictures, I was looking up, do a little bit more research. There was like Nazis in there. There's everything in there.
Yep, and because he has this mind control ability. He's like it sounds ridiculous, right? He's a caterpillar that could speak telepathically, and it's called Mr. Mind.
Apparently, he's one of the most dangerous creatures in the world.
One of the most dangerous creatures in all the quote unquote 7 realms. So think of like Thor and the 9 realms, right? Yep. That's kind of the magic of the Marvel universe, besides Doctor Strange, obviously.
So
this is kind of the DC's version of the 9 realms. It's 7 realms where they're all different.
Yeah.
And each one has a very specific way of living life in that realm with their own sense of good and evil and morality. And, you know, Shazam might get sucked into those realms and have to figure his way out.
Which I think is going to be really cool to see outside of just him being in Philly. So these realms, not to spoil them for you, and they are in the comic right now, so I definitely recommend picking them up. But we see one where it's like kind of like a Neverland, like for Lost Boys. All young kids go there. And there's some mysterious figure behind that running the place. There's ones where, like, walking, talking animals are. Yeah. And they live there, the Wildlands. There's the Monsterlands, which we don't know too much about in the current one, at least. And then there's, like, a video game world. There's all these different kind of worlds that's going to be great. And when you think about it, there's 7 of them. So there's each one of them essentially guards one of the realms. At least I would assume.
Yeah, and they're all not, like, they're all skin deep, right? So the realms, think of, like, in Pinocchio, where he gets sent to that area where all the kids never grow up and the bad kids get turned into donkeys and all that at the end after they think they're having fun and all this stuff. It's kind of dark like that. Like there's realms where it's like you're a kid forever and you're playing and you're in an amusement park and you're eating candy all day and you never get older, but the second you become an adult, you like get sent to a mine.
Yeah, and you make everything work. Like you do all the work.
Exactly. Like it's crazy stuff. So like it'll be definitely very playful, very like, you know, child friendly and very ridiculous, over the top, magical stuff. But yeah, if they're gonna go deep dive into this, and if they do a sequel, I think it's the smart thing to do.
So it makes sense for the sequel. It's gonna be Mr. Mind, Dr. Sylvanus again, seeing all the realms, exploring more of the Shazam world and the magic in the DC universe, right?
Yeah.
Which also gets us more accepting of that for when they go into the dark magic, right? Which everybody really wants that. At least know of it.
I want Zatanna.
Exactly. But at the after credit scene of that next movie, I already know what it is. You know what it is. Yep. It's going to be Dr. Sylvanus opening the tomb where Black Adam is, and we're going to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson
as Black Adam.
And then we're going to get Black Adam's solo movie. Oh, can you imagine?
Black Adam as the Scorpion King with the pinchers. Oh, so bad.
So, overall, very good movie.
Yep.
I recommend watching it.
Definitely.
Recommend watching it again. I recommend going buy out the Blu-ray when it comes out. I think it's great for your collection.
I wouldn't personally, I'm not going to pay to see it in theaters again.
Okay.
I think it's a simple enough movie that I could remember it vividly. That I'm like, oh, did I miss this and this? I need to go see it again.
You see, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand many of you probably have the same thing.
Like I could wait till the Blu-ray.
Yeah. That you're not going to see it again. The main reason I would have for the argument against watching it again is because we do have Pet Sematary, Hellboy, and this movie.
True. So
it is a lot. If it was a slower month, I'd watch it more times. I'm probably going to watch it another time, and that's it. Yeah. Just the 2.
Yeah, I'm good with the 1 until the Blu-ray comes out with everything else too.
Well, I promised other group of friends that's why I'm watching it.
Oh, that's
so I'm technically cheating. I made a proper commitment. If I didn't make that commitment, I probably wouldn't watch it just because I have to watch 3 other movies.
Yeah, movies.
I think that wraps it up here, right?
Yeah. What your grade?
1
to 10.
Ooh, 9.
Wow, that's high.
I don't really have too much to fault with it, especially for being an opening movie.
Yeah, I mean it's a good first take. I thought it was really good.
Maybe I'm grading on a curve because it is a first take, like it's a 1.
Yeah,
and not like, all right, these are established characters. What are you doing with them?
I think I gotta also give it the same I gave Aquaman as a 7.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even the 8 for making you cry when they did the all hands on deck. He's like, he has a family.
That was you. That was you crying the whole time. I was fine. I thought it was a nice shot. I thought I was more emotionally connected to the scene with the mom, where she was like, yeah, like I didn't really want you kind of.
If you think this is better than Aquaman, you have to have a higher grade. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So, for argument's sake, if it's better than Aquaman, I'll go 7.8.
All right. 7. That's fine. You stick the 0.2 to me. That's fine. Stick it to the man.
I don't think I could go 8. Because
it's fine. No, you don't have to.
I'm telling you that feeling I get watching Marvel movies. If DC figures out a way to make me feel that, you're gonna get a higher grade. 100%. I just don't think they've figured it out yet. That superhero impact, the fall of the character to the rise of the character, to making that character feel important to you specifically. Once they figure that formula out, I'm sold. Like, again, that Superman scene I just explained from the comics, if that's in that movie, this movie's an 8.5.
See, I think that's why we have the 2 different things. You're looking more on the superhero aspect, and I'm looking more of like the Billy aspect. Like oh, he's completing the whole.
Oh, yeah. I love Billy, and
that's why I gave that.
The story was great, and that's like I either start from 0 and work up or 10 and work down. I usually start at 10 and work down because it's usually shorter, and I don't have to add on like, okay, this is good, this is good, this is good. It's easier to say, all right, great. What's bad that kind of lowers it and how much.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I give it a 7, 8 if it was argument's sake.
All right, guys. So that wraps up this episode of the Jersey Comic Crew podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can listen to the audio version of this podcast. Links are down below. You can listen to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your local podcasts. Or if you're listening to this, you can head over to the YouTube and watch us give a talk. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this movie, if you agree with my rating or Chris's or your own opinion. And what was your favorite scene?
Yes, we want to hear from you.
Yes, and we'll see you next time. I'm Rob.
And I'm Kris.
I'm not a security guard.
We'll see you next time. JerseyComicCrew.podbean.com.